Hey guys, Sven here, and thanks for checking out the channel. The reason why I decided to do some of these guitar playthrough videos is because over the last 25 years I've had countless people approach me online and in person to do videos like this, or to write out some guitar tablature so they have a little bit more of a better understanding of how the Segression songs are played on guitar. I always wanted and intended to do it, but just never found the time, nor did I have the equipment to be able to do it. But now I do, and thanks to COVID, I've now had the time and the opportunity to actually make it happen. I've got to say, it's been a very steep learning curve for me. I've pulled a lot of hair out, as you can clearly see. But I never had much of an idea about any of the video editing programs. I only ever really dealt with audio, so pretty stoked I've finally managed to get this all together and be able to upload this video. So the song for this video is going to be Internal Thought Flow. That's off Segression's first album, L.I.A, Lesson in Aggression. That album was recorded in 1995 at EMI Studios 301 in Sydney. It's actually recorded in 2 sessions. We did 4 or 5 songs at the beginning of 1995 with the original guitarist, James. And then later on that year, James was replaced by Shane. We wrote another 4 or 5 songs, and then later that year, we went back into 301 and completed the album. It was also the first album where we used 7-string guitars. Prior to that, we always used 6-string guitars, but we were tuned to C standard, I believe. But it was towards the end of 1994. I was walking down George Street in Sydney, and I walked past a pawn shop. And hanging in the window was an Ibanez Universe 7-string Squirrel. I'd heard a lot about it, seen a lot of photos of Steve Vai doing the promos in all the guitar mags. So I was very intrigued. I went inside, picked it up, had a bit of a play, was blown away by it. It was quite different, being the extra wide neck and the extra string. But I bought it, and it was a few months later after that James went and bought a 7-string as well, and we basically used 7 strings from that point forward, all the way up until the Side Effect X album, when we reverted back to 6 strings for that album. So the way you would normally tune a 7-string guitar would be from the 1st string to the 6th string would be tuned to E standard, and then you would have the lower B string. We didn't tune them that way. What we did was we tuned from the 2nd string to the 7th string, we tuned to B standard. So imagine having a 6-string guitar and just tuning it to B. That's how our lower strings were, and then we just had the extra high string. That always made the guys at Ibanez Australia scratch their heads as to why we would ever tune a guitar that way. It just worked for us. It enabled us to have a higher registry with certain chords. So if we were to do like an E major shaped chord, it would sound like this. So it sounded much bigger. That worked very well for us because we started experimenting a hell of a lot with guitar effects, like really crazy, wacky sounds. And a lot of those sounds that we came up with tended to sound a lot better with a higher register string. So that worked well for us. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the song from beginning to end, and then after that I'll break down each riff, play them slowly to give you a better idea of how they're all played. Now I am 100% self-taught. I learned everything I know just through trial and error. I just wish I had the resources that are available now back then when I first started, because when I wanted to learn a song, it was basically get the cassette tape, put it in the cassette player, press play for a fraction of the song, try and work out by ear where the notes were, and then continue on that way. Very slow, drawn out process. So I just wish that the resources that are available now were available back then when I first started playing. I would probably be a lot better guitarist than what I am now. So all you young guys that are only just starting to learn how to play, consider yourselves very lucky. So before we get started on the song, hit that subscribe button below and whack that notification bell. That way the next time I upload a video, you'll be notified and you'll be able to tune in. So, with all of that out the way, let's dive into the song. So now I'm going to break these riffs down for you slowly. The first one is not a heavily distorted guitar sound. It's basically more of a clean tone with a bit of an overdrive pedal put before the amp to break it up a little bit, and with a little bit of a chorus and delay. So it starts basically just with an E major chord, and it has a harmonic minor sort of feel. So it's has that Egyptian sort of vibe about it. The first chord, E major, play that through, let it ring. Now the run after that, basically a combination of open strings and fretted hammer-on and pull-off notes. So starting on the second string, first string if you're on a 6-string, right? So it's open second string, hammer on to the first fret. And then open string, hammer onto the first fret, and then pull off to the open string. So all together. That's it, so together. Then the next part is onto the third string, open string, and then hammer on to the third fret. Then pick the first fret, and hammer on to the third and pull off back to the first. And then open string, hammer onto the first fret, and then pull off to the open. All together. Fourth string, second fret, open third string, then open fourth string. All together very slowly. Now all together with the chord. So after that, it goes to an F major chord. But picture an F major bar chord like this. Take off the bar and don't play the root F note. So it's basically an E major shape moved up one step, but still allow the higher strings to ring out as if it was an E major chord. That's basically it. So all together. Into D minor. So after you hit the D minor chord, it's first fret, third fret, first fret, open string on the second string. All together again. And then it's back to the beginning. But instead of going to the D, we go to E major, but with a G sharp root. So if you were to pick a E major arpeggio, it's that shape, but just extend the index finger to give it the G sharp root. So all together, it sounds like. To the beginning again. So that just repeats throughout that whole intro section. So the second guitar underneath that is basically a distorted guitar tone, but it is using the same notes, the same root notes, the E, the F, the D, and the G sharp. Just doing octaves of it though. So like this. That's just underneath that clean tone delayed sound. Towards the end of that, the guitar does do a harmony of those notes in a third up. And so that is on the G sharp on the 6th fret, on the 5th string, 7th fret, 3rd, back to the 6th, and then 7 and 9. So the riff after that is the main riff, basically using those same notes, E, F, D, and G sharp, but it's in more of a note riff form, so to speak. So I'll play it slowly. It goes like this. Keep pedaling off that lower string, and there's a few hammer-ons and pull-offs, so I'll play it even slower again. Second half of that, played along with that riff, is just the harmony of it, and it's played on the 6th fret again, just like those other underlying tones in the harmony at the beginning. It's a little bit of a stretch from the 3rd to the 6th in this position. If you wanted to, you can shift it up and play it on the lower string, but I always found it sounded way better in this area. Just the tone sounded nicer on that string. So after that, it just goes to a shortened version of the intro, then back into the main riff again. The transition then from the main riff into a sort of slower backbeat drum feel is a transition that is chromatic, and it goes from the C down to the G, and just in power chords. So I'll play that slowly for you. So just, yeah, power chords from the C down to the G, wait for the snare crack. Then the next riff is basically an F sharp. I'll play it up to speed and then I'll slow it down and I'll only play it in single notes. So just the note form. And then after that, it is just a variation of that. I'll play it up to speed and then play a single note as well. And then right at the end is just 2 pumps on the F sharp and then a drone on the E. So there you have it. I haven't tried to drag on too much with the way the riffs are done. I've set up the cameras so that you can see my hands a little clearly and you should be able to get the gist of what it is I'm playing, even though I may not be articulating it verbally very well. But yeah, the next video will be a song from the 5th of the 5th album. Apart from that, just remember to hit that subscribe button and whack the notification bell. And when I do get that song up from the 5th of the 5th album, you'll be able to tune in. That's the end of the video. Thank you so much for checking it out. Remember to stay safe, look after yourselves, and most importantly, stay heavy.